It was raining that night, the kind of rain that seems to wash away memories. Lena ran through the narrow streets of the old town, clutching her coat tight, her tears blending with the storm. Her boyfriend, Adrian, had left her for someone else. All she wanted now was to forget. But fate had other plans. She stumbled into an antique bookstore she'd never seen before, the Ink of Time. The bell above the door jingled softly, though no one seemed to be there. The air smelled of old paper and dust, yet strangely warm. On a cracked wooden table lay a single book. Its cover was deep black, edged in gold, the title shimmering faintly. One Wish, One Price. Lena hesitated, but her pain was stronger than her caution. She opened it. Inside was a single line written in neat, elegant handwriting. Write your wish, and your heart shall decide the cost. Her hand trembled as she picked up an old quill beside it. With a bitter laugh, she whispered, I wish I could forget Adrian forever. The ink glowed crimson, the air shimmered. And just like that, his name vanished from her memory. So did every photo, every message, every trace of him in her life. But in the following days, strange things began to happen. People around her looked at her differently, as if she was the one who had done something terrible. And someone was watching her. A man in a gray coat, always just beyond the corner of her eye. Days passed. Lena felt lighter without Adrian's memories, as if a weight had lifted from her soul. But something inside her felt hollow. Every night she dreamed of a voice whispering her name. Soft, familiar, painful. And each morning she'd wake up with tears on her pillow, but she didn't know why. One rainy evening, while walking home from work, she noticed him again. The man in the gray coat, standing across the street beneath a flickering street lamp. This time she didn't look away. Who are you? She called out. The man smiled faintly and crossed the street, his steps echoing against the wet pavement. You shouldn't have used the book, he said quietly. It always takes more than it gives. Lena's heart raced. What do you mean? I only made one wish. He looked at her with sorrowful eyes. And what if I told you, you wished away more than a memory? She frowned. What are you talking about? The man reached into his coat and pulled out a photograph, faded, water-stained. In it, Lena was laughing, holding hands with someone. The man in the photo was him. Her breath caught in her throat. I don't understand. You wish to forget Adrian, he said softly. But that was me, Lena. That was my name before the book took it. Her knees felt weak. He looked exactly like the man in her dreams, the same eyes, the same warmth. But now there was only sorrow between them. He took a step closer. You didn't just erase me from your mind. You erased our love from existence. The rain began to fall harder, as if the sky itself grieved with them. Lena couldn't breathe. Her heart screamed that this man, this stranger, was telling the truth. Something inside her remembered him, even if her mind refused to. Adrian, no, Elias, as he now called himself, looked at her with such heartbreak it made her chest ache. The book doesn't just erase memories, he said softly. It rewrites reality. When you wished to forget me, it took me away from the world that loved you. Lena's hands trembled. Then why are you here now? He gave a weak smile. Because I made my own wish to see you one last time. The words hit her like a storm. He'd used the book too. And if he had? Every wish has a price, she whispered. What did you lose? Elias didn't answer. He simply looked away, the rain dripping from his lashes. That silence was enough. He had traded something precious, maybe even his life, just to be near her again. That night when Lena returned home, she found the black book waiting for her on her desk, its pages fluttering though the window was closed. The gold letters on the cover pulsed faintly, as if alive. She hesitated only a moment before opening it. I wish, she wrote with trembling hands, To remember the love I lost. The ink bled across the page like a living shadow. Her heart twisted painfully, and then her mind exploded with light. Flashes. Her laughter in his arms. A promise under cherry blossoms. A kiss in the rain. The night they said forever. She collapsed to the floor, crying and smiling all at once. She remembered everything. But as the memories returned, something else began to fade. Her reflection in the mirror blurred. Her name on her phone vanished. She was being erased from the world in exchange. Lena gasped as her reflection flickered, her face fading in and out like a dying flame. The book lay open beside her, its pages whispering in a voice she could almost understand. A wish granted, a life rewritten. Her phone lit up with a call from an unknown number. She answered, her voice shaking. "Hello, Lena." It was Elias. But his voice, it sounded distant, as though coming from another world. "You shouldn't have done it," he said. "Now it's taking you instead." Tears burned her eyes. "I couldn't live without remembering you, Elias. I'd rather vanish than forget you again." Silence, then a single broken laugh. That's the thing about love. It always defies reason. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The room grew cold. And there, standing before her, was Elias, real, trembling, alive, but fatting around the edges. The book floated between them, glowing faintly, as if it were listening. Elias reached out, his hand brushing hers, a spark of warmth in the cold air. "There's one last wish left," he whispered. "We can undo it all, start again, but the book always takes something in return." She nodded through tears. "What if it takes one of us?" He smiled sadly. "Then let it take me." "No," she cried. "You've already lost too much." They both looked at the book. The air trembled. The gold lettering shifted, forming new words across the cover. "One heart, one future, one must remain." Lena looked at Elias, the man she loved, the man she'd wished away and found again. She knew what she had to do. She took his hand, then we wished together. Their voices overlapped as they spoke the final words. "We wish for a life where love never needs a price." A blinding light filled the room, warm, golden, and soft. The book closed itself with a sigh. And the world went silent. When Lena opened her eyes, she was lying beneath a cherry blossom tree. The morning sun painted everything gold. The wind carried petals that danced through the air like whispers of a forgotten dream. She sat up dazed. The black book was gone, so was the storm. For the first time in forever, her heart felt peaceful. She heard footsteps behind her. "Beautiful morning, isn't it?" She turned, and there he was, Elias. Smiling, whole, alive. She ran into his arms, laughing and crying all at once. He looked at her, brushing her hair back. "Do you remember?" She nodded. "Everything." They spent the day walking through the park, talking about everything and nothing. The pain, the heartbreak, all of it felt like a distant echo. But that night, when Lena returned home, she found a single cherry blossom petal on her pillow. And written on it in shimmering gold ink was one chilling sentence: "All wishes come due." Chapter 6. The Shadow Between Us. The next morning, Elias didn't show up to meet her. She called him, no answer. She went to his apartment, empty. It was as if he'd never lived there. Her heart pounded as she ran through the city, searching, calling his name. Finally, in a reflection in a shop window, she saw something impossible: Elias, standing behind her reflection, though no one was there in the real world. "Lena," his voice echoed faintly. "The book's price wasn't paid." She reached out to the glass, tears streaming down her face. "What can I do?" "You can't undo love," he whispered, "but you can share its burden." That night, Lena returned to where it all began, the old bookstore, the Ink of Time. Only now it was abandoned, dusty, silent. On the counter lay a mirror, cracked down the middle, and inside the crack shimmered faint golden ink. The book wasn't gone after all. It was watching her through reflections. Chapter 7: The Final Bargain. Lena stood before the mirror, clutching the last petal she had found. "I'm not afraid of you," she said. "Take what you want, just bring him back." The golden ink flared, and the reflection of the bookstore melted away into swirling light. A voice spoke, deep and ancient, like wind through old pages. "You ask for love beyond cost. You ask for eternity in a mortal heart. Why?" Lena straightened her shoulders. "Because love shouldn't be punished." The mirror pulsed, and a faint shape appeared, Elias, kneeling in shadow, bound by golden chains of ink. She ran forward, but her reflection held her back. "Two hearts, one wish," the voice murmured. "To free him, you must bind yourself." Without hesitation, she pressed her hand to the mirror. "Then bind me." The glass cracked, light exploded, and the ink wrapped around her wrist like a living tattoo. Elias gasped, falling forward, finally free. He caught her before she collapsed. "Lena, what did you do?" She smiled weakly, balanced the price. Days later, Lena awoke in Elias' arms beneath the same cherry blossom tree. Her skin shimmered faintly with gold, like sunlight beneath the surface. He brushed her cheek. "The mark, it's fading." She smiled. "It means the book's power is ending." And it was true. The whispers in her dreams were gone. The book had disappeared forever. They built a life together, small, quiet, beautiful. Every sunrise reminded them that love, no matter how cursed, could still bloom. One evening, as they watched the sunset, Elias took her hand and said softly, "If I ever lose you again, I'll search through time itself to find you." Lena laughed, leaning on his shoulder. "You'd better, because I'm not making another wish." Years later, the antique bookstore reopened, though no one remembered it ever existing before. A young couple walked in, laughing softly. On the counter sat a new book, white this time, with golden edges. The title read, "The Book of Beginnings." Inside the first page, written in delicate handwriting, were two names, Lena and Elias. And beneath it, "For those who believe love is worth every wish." As the couple smiled and turned the first page, the petals outside began to fall again, dancing in the sunlight, just like the day Lena and Elias rewrote their fate. It had been 3 peaceful years since the last wish. Lena and Elias had built a quiet life together in a small coastal town, far from the city, far from their past. Every evening, the waves whispered softly beneath their balcony, and they believed their story was finally over. Until one morning, a white envelope arrived. No address, no sender. Inside was a single slip of paper and a familiar golden mark. "All stories begin again." Elias' hands trembled as he turned the paper over. There, written in delicate handwriting, was a name neither of them recognized, Amara. Lena felt a chill. "Do you think it's from the book?" Elias nodded slowly. "Or from whoever made it." Following the letter's trail led them back to the old city, to a hidden garden behind the ink of time. There, among the overgrown ivy and roses, stood a woman in a white dress. Her eyes shimmered gold. "I am Amara," she said softly, "the keeper of the book." She looked at Lena with sorrow. "You are the first to survive its curse. The book wasn't meant to destroy, it was meant to test." "Test what?" Elias asked. "The strength of a heart's truth," Amara replied. "Love that endures pain, sacrifice, and loss can rewrite even fate itself. You proved that." Lena stepped forward. "Then why bring us here?" Amara smiled faintly. "Because the world is unbalanced. Every wish written in the book creates echoes, and yours has left a doorway open." That night the sky above the city shimmered with strange light, like ripples in time. Through reflections, Lena saw flashes of other lives. People who had made wishes, lovers, dreamers, and broken souls, all trapped between worlds. One woman wept in an empty church, holding a photograph that no longer existed. A boy reached for his shadow, whispering a wish to see his mother again. Lena felt their sorrow deep inside her heart. "We did this," she whispered. "No," Elias said, taking her hand. "We can fix it." Amara appeared again, her eyes glowing brighter now. "There is one final book," she said. "Hidden where all wishes are born, the library of time. Only together can you close the door you opened." They followed Amara through an ancient forest to a place where the trees whispered in languages older than the stars. At its center stood a massive stone gate carved with symbols, 1,000 stories frozen in motion. When Lena touched the gate, every wish ever made echoed in her mind, cries for love, pleas for life, whispers of regret. It was overwhelming. Elias placed his hand over hers. "We end this together." The gate opened, revealing endless shelves of glowing books, each a soul's wish. At the very center sat a single book, glowing with familiar light, the Book of Broken Wishes. It opened on its own, and words began to form. Every wish must find its home. Lena gasped as she saw her own handwriting, her wish from all those years ago. "I wish I could forget Adrian forever." She picked up the quill that lay beside it. "Then I make a new wish," she whispered. "Let all who wish be free, even me." Light engulfed them, the ground shook, the shelves of the library shimmered like stars. Every trapped soul, every lost wish was released into the sky as golden petals. When the light faded, Lena and Elias found themselves back beneath the cherry blossom tree. No book, no keeper, only peace. Elias looked at her, smiling softly. "Do you think it's really over?" Lena leaned against him. "No, I think it's just beginning." As they sat together, a soft breeze carried a single petal to Lena's lap. Written on it in golden letters were the words, "Love itself is the only wish that needs no book." She smiled through tears and held Elias' hand tight. The sunset painted the world in gold, and for the first time, their story truly had no price, no curse. Only love.